It's all good. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, Jacob. I know it's a good opportunity for us to be able to connect as well, and then just to learn more about your experience, how you have been winning in real estate. So tell me about your journey. Tell me about how you got to today and what kind of wins you've been experiencing in real estate so far.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I specialize in fix and flips. I also am involved in a few multifamily plays as well, and that seems to be what's taking a lot of my attention as I project to the future. Um, I'm like most people, not sure what you want to get involved with, and for me, real estate caught me by surprise. I got in real estate probably about 10 years ago now, and I was looking for a place just to intern and just get some more business skill sets from individuals that I was introduced to. So never really was it real estate. It was like, hey, this is a good individual. It's always about having the right mentors, and I knew that. And so, kind of hanging around with this individual really exposed me to a lot of things. And before you knew it, I was heavily involved in real estate, understanding how to analyze deals, track down deals, negotiate, and really structure yourself, what it takes to have grit in this business.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that was very important at that time in my life because as an adolescent, growing up, huge family, five brothers, five sisters, learning what I can, trying to make something out of nothing, right? As my mom always says, has always been the goal. And I recall, what probably was the most challenging thing prior to getting real estate is I had spent a lot of my youth and a lot of my early 20s incarcerated. And that was very difficult. So
Okay.
while I was incarcerated, I began to make a shift, not so much in who I am, but what I'm doing and those outcomes. And so, finding God, growing that relationship, and then valuing the leadership and the following, kind of like when we follow a leader, right? And that's what I've learned in my spiritual journey is the importance of following, right? So
Yeah.
identifying a good leader after my incarceration for many years, finding a mentor and a leader, that's what sent me down that path. And so again, it never was real estate. So in finding a good leader and following a good leader, the leader that was at the time, he was heavily involved in real estate, learned a lot, learned sales, gained my real estate license, started doing some fix and flips, and we progressed. And so that's really how that's where uh, luck and opportunity met,
Yeah.
right? And some preparation as well.
No, that's good. I really like the fact that you took us from all the way in the beginnings of your story and then some of the struggles you've gone through and some of the hurdles. Some hurdles that you had to overcome, right? Being incarcerated is not easy. And that shift, right, from someone that was incarcerated and then going into entrepreneurship and business and then learning sales. Take
Yeah.
us through that transition. How was that transition for you?
Um, that transition, looking back, it was very difficult. It was very difficult. I think when you look at real estate, you look at investing, you look at entrepreneurship, it is a the basis of it is very independent and it has a hustle mindset because if you don't find the food, you don't eat,
You don't
right?
eat.
There's no
Yeah.
guarantee. And I think that again, preparation, luck, and opportunity they do come together at some intersection, meaning that incarceration is incarceration. I suggest nobody ever experience it, but it's
Yes.
a very, very, very difficult thing. Your life gets set back, and the way we're structured as a society, because of the laws and rules, we've got to follow the rules. That once you get released from incarceration, you have to start back over. And some of the times, oftentimes, far too often, people find themselves making poor decisions like that because of their foundation initially, whether it be at home, whether it be in their community, whether it be mental health, right? So they start with some things that are challenging, no excuse, and then they're put in a desolate position for a period of time, and then you come back out very likely with no further resources, probably
Right.
less resources. I know many of people that have served maybe a 10-year sentence, and when they came home, their mom was dead. Their brothers are sick, or their brothers have grown families, so the resources are less, and you're much older. But not to spend too much time on that because the lessons are blessings. But
Right.
what happens also is in our society, we once somebody serves their debt to society, right? We'll call it whatever term that they had to serve while they're incarcerated. What happens is you are denied many employment opportunities, right? If you have a felony, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't work in schools, you can't attain certain licenses, and so the resources and the disadvantages continue to compound. I think a lot of time we say one step back, two steps forwards, but once going through that pipeline, it's two steps back and
Yeah.
hopefully one step forward. So it's receding, right? And that is probably the most difficult thing outside of going through the experience, coming out of the experience and realizing that it still is difficult, if not more difficult, because of the poor decisions we make oftentimes. So I can see why recidivism is far beyond 65% for most individuals in the first year after their release.
Sure.
I'm sure that that number is actually much higher at this point. But what that birthed for me was the blessing, because there's a blessing in every lesson,
There
in which
is.
I continue to frame my mind and understand that the fact that I probably wasn't going to gain employment where I would like to have gained it, gainful employment to try to achieve the type of income that I would have wanted, I walked the same mindset as many of those that are released. Man, nobody's gonna hire me. I'm not gonna be able to get a job.
Right.
McDonald's won't even hire me. Like that, that is whether it's true or false, that is what many, many people understand to be true. As soon as you fill out the application, you get to the second page, it says, have you ever committed a felony? Have you ever been incarcerated? You got to check that box,
That's
right?
true.
And for a lot of people, when they first get released and they first you're fearful of the belief that it won't work out. You go apply for a job and then that box comes out and you got to check it. Then self-doubt can really, really, really do a toll to your mentals, right? So for me, I was sickened with that nobody was going to hire me, and that my incarceration, though I've satisfied the terms of it, I was going to get a lot of doors closed on me. So I went with the next best thing. I enrolled in college, right? And upon release, your financials are always tough for I don't care who it is, right? Enrolled in junior college, financial aid helped out a lot. Start studying a variety of different courses, philosophy, accounting, you name it. But I always was stuck with the concept of somebody's not going to hire me, regardless of the degree I get or any certificate that I achieve. Also did some college work while I was incarcerated as well. I got an associate in
That's
business
good.
management, right? Doing some correspondence, sitting
Yeah.
on my bunk at night
Yeah.
with a flashlight and mailing them out. So the turnover time was like 6 weeks, right? Because all the mail that comes into an institution, it's slowed down. So I mean, what would take a semester course, you don't even know if you pass the course for till the next semester. But
Right.
all that jazz to say that the lesson was the blessing in knowing that I didn't think anybody would employ me. So what did I have to do? I had to be entrepreneurial.
You have to.
So
And
then found a good leader, put in the work, put in the resource, work for free, put in the time, added value, remained a sponge, remained graceful, and did the things that I didn't want to do. I think that we talk a lot of times about what it means to be a man, right?
right.
And so much of being a man is not so much about what you have or what you want to do. It's more about doing the thing that you have to do in order to do the things you
To
want to
get
do.
there. That's right.
Yeah. So in that journey of we'll call it an internship, because this gentleman, he didn't hire me, right? I was like, you're my mentor. I proclaimed it. I'm going to keep showing up, and did that for a long time, right? With very, very little resources, with the hope that something would happen, right? And I would rather hope by following a good mentor that something would happen rather than to hope on a McDonald's application and checking a
Definitely.
box,
Definitely.
right? I feel like there was more power in my hand. Plus, I'm learning something. And you can lose a lot of money, you can lose a lot of friends, but it's very hard to lose knowledge, right? That's
Very
something that
difficult. Yeah.
it's very difficult. No one could ever take that away. Those skill sets, right? And that exposure. So for me, that was the next best thing. I went full time in an internship with a real estate broker that was a phenomenal guy, and then I learned a lot, very, 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 very fast, but didn't know how fast I was learning it because my goal was never to get into real estate. My goal was to follow a good leader. That's it.
Wow.
So if he was selling popsicles or soda cans, or I just knew he was an intelligent guy. He was self-taught, and I continued to chart that path. And then as opportunities come, and fortune and luck and preparation, I saw a distressed property, And my exposure while in my internship, I'd seen flips go full cycle. I've gone to properties of my clients and replaced the key, or somebody got locked out. I'd hop the fence for him and give that concierge service for his clients. So when I saw a distressed property, it was very, very easy because I'm pretty ambitious. I'm like, I'm gonna take this property down.
Definitely.
Didn't understand the business of it, how to analyze the deal. So I went back to my mentor. I said, look, I really want to take down this property. Looks like there's some money to be made. Can you put your eyes on it? He said, man, there's a lot of work, but you can, if you get it for a good deal, you'll make some money. Never knew how much I was going to enter at, exit at. And then I made like 80 grand on that first deal. And
Wow.
so this is coming from somebody that was, still on parole, right? This is coming from somebody that didn't want to check the box at McDonald's. This is coming from somebody that didn't know where he was going. And
I'm
so
sure that first 80 grand changed your life,
what?
man.
When it hit my account, I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. But even at that time, my mindset was follow the leader,
Right. Yep.
gain skill sets, add value. So I remember even at that time, this had to be 8 years ago, people would say, oh man, you're a real estate investor. I said, no, I'm not. I mean, I'm not, I don't want to be disingenuous to you. I'm not. I'm in an internship. But that's because that was never my goal. So I never identified with it. And this was just maybe a transaction or something that happened once. And before you know it, I'm taking two, three, four deals down at a time and having some good outcomes overall.
No, that's
And
good.
eventually I realized I said, oh, I'm a real estate investor.
Yeah. That brings me back to my humble beginnings as well. Whenever I got started in real estate, there was one particular individual that changed my life and changed my trajectory. When I first started working with him, he was eager to work with me as a partner and as a mentor. And
Mhm.
him having 35 years of experience before I even met him in the industry, it opened up the scope of possibilities for me to
Yeah.
even to start also investing. So what you mentioned there is something very powerful that I think a lot of people should hone in on is getting a good mentor in real estate that will change your trajectory and just be following the right leader. You
Yeah.
know, how you started was through a good leader.
Yeah. You made me think about something. I think that we would all like to be great in some space, right? And I think a lot of us can even be competitive, right? The sheer nature
Mhm.
of human life, survival. I think a lot of us would want to be a leader or an entrepreneur, but I think I frequently see a gap in what either one understands or what it takes to be that. And there's a quote that I always go by: in order to be a great leader, you have to be a great follower.
Definitely.
And somebody shared that with me very, very early on as a kid. And so there's power in being a great, great follower.
Yeah.
In fact, being a leader sucks. It all falls on you. There's some great things about being a leader, but
Yeah.
let's make no mistake. But the leader eats last.
Mhm.
The leader takes on all the risk. As a leader, let's talk about real estate investment. If you're a leader, if you're leading a team, you're putting up all the capital, all the resources, and you've already gone through eating dirt
Right.
through all the experiences. So anybody that comes after you will have your knowledge, just like the both of our experience. But
Definitely.
also as a leader, anytime it goes bad, it's your fault.
Yeah. It all comes down on you.
So being a leader, shout out to all those that lead. But I think that being a follower is such a discount. And I think people discount the power of being a great follower by, identifying a leader. And then but to be a great follower, you got to know what to do, right?
Right.
And followers are humble, are graceful, right? Followers don't never like I think the 48 laws of power. Followers never outshine the master, right?
Exactly.
Followers bring value and they understand their position, right? So if my position is to pick up the water bottles, that's my job. I'm gonna be the best water bottle picker upper there is. But I see a lot of people get lost in the sauce and they're ready to take down the person that's showing them the path. And
That
it's
is
a
for sure.
bit poor
I like
mistake.
what I like about what you said is the fact that God changed your trajectory as well, and that's how God has impacted my life tremendously. Uh,
Yes.
when I started, and even whenever I all the way to where I'm at now. Now, what I wanted to touch on is the fact that you mentioned sales. You grew on your sales skills. I think it's one of the undermined skills in real estate that a lot of people don't really hone in on. So talk to me about growing the skills and what kind of skills are really required to start
Yeah,
flipping, fixing and flipping
yeah.
all these houses?
In sales or fixing and flipping?
Well, it falls in sales is
Right.
applicable to every type of
Yeah.
business,
Yes,
correct?
yes. So let me start with sales. I want to make because they're kind of different functions that kind of collaborate or go in
Right.
chain. But I think the sales is let's start with sales. So again, for me in sales, I think like a lot of people that maybe are good communicators, if I'm
Mhm.
one of them. In sales, you have to be able to communicate. That obviously doesn't mean that you speak a lot or you use large words, right? It means that you're clear and
Yep.
you understand how to connect with people, right? That's very, very important in sales. And again, working for my underneath my mentor many years, I had the skill set of communication. I had the skill set of meeting people. Being in California, I think I'm pretty cultured, having a diverse exposure to different cultures, right? And then being respectful. That helps. That gets you into the door and keeps you into the door. But working underneath my mentor, I realized that there's a whole nother level to sales, right? Understanding truly one's motivation, right?
Definitely.
I think what's paramount in sales is you can in this area you can do Facebook marketing, you can do all type of meta ads, you can do Google ads, you can pay, you can do mailers, you can do a lot of things. But the cheapest way to get a lead in sales is by way of a referral.
Yep.
Because when you do business with one person and then they go tell their community or their umbrella of people that's in their onion, they speak on you. They'll come and say, Taylor's my guy. You got to go with Taylor. You have to go with Taylor. They'll
Right.
say that. And so your name will be spoken in rooms that you probably never entered. So in sales, reputation is what I'm really touching base on. Because you can get really good at analyzing deals or really good at managing construction, but that pipeline of deals consistently coming your way, if you're not paying for them, where are they coming from, and how much are you paying for these leads?
Definitely.
But we have very good reputation. Over time, you build a book of business that your name is stamped on, and you never have to pay for that. So in sales, I think that the most underrated skill set and the most affordable way to grow a business, stay a business, and make money in business is reputation. Reputation. I think Maya Angelou says it, and I'm gonna misquote it. She said, "People never remember what you do for them, but they always remember how you make them feel."
Exactly.
And so, from the beginning to the end of the transaction, how do people feel?
Right. No, that's it, man. I love that. So sales is probably one of the most important things. I tell this to a lot of my students when I'm talking to coaching them. Learn sales, learn negotiation skills. It's going to
Mhm.
help you not only for the deals that you're working on today, but for the rest of your career in as
Yeah.
an entrepreneur.
And I think even when you say negotiate, for those that are going to be watching this, when you think about negotiating, and I think I definitely worked under one of the best negotiators I ever met. This guy was good, right?
Oh yeah,
Um, some people are interested in results. A lot of people if you're hiring an attorney, I want the results. Okay. But an attorney can't make the verdict, right? He or she can only do the best job. But suppose that I had an attorney representing me on some litigation and I lost. I had to pay some money out. But I felt like he fought his tail off and there was nothing else he can do. Well, I would still refer him, right? And so in the negotiation, as I'm talking to clients and talking to different people in my industry, some people I walk away with like, I didn't really like that guy.
yeah.
And so if you call me and say, Jacob, I'm looking for a home inspector in California. What do you know about this guy? Don't go with him.
Wow.
Right? And so that goes back to negotiating, within negotiating, listening, right? Getting an understanding of where somebody's trying to go and making sure we couple that authentically, making them feel that we not only we understand them, right? We know what's important to them and we're gonna fight for them. And
Yeah.
I feel like this person fought for me. I'm good to go. That's
Right.
so but we can
No,
go down the road.
that's good. So Jacob, you're say for example you're talking to a an individual who wants to get into real estate. They also want to become a fix and flipper. What
Mhm.
avenue should they go through, and what are the steps they should take to become a fix and flipper as a real estate investor?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think before I answer it with a short answer, I've mentored many people. I have a small community in which I've helped individuals get into their first fix and flip. So my opinion is not just based off what I feel. It's with many experiences, some good, some bad. I think that people looking to get into real estate fix and flip, they need to understand how a deal goes full cycle. All right.
Definitely.
You sometimes we get DMs from people that probably are heavily liquid and want to do business. And in real estate, what you realize, in my experience, what I've learned is that when you have control over the dirt, you control the deal.
That's it.
The more you grow in real estate, a lot of people have money. Humbly, I don't have any money, right? But I probably know about 50 people with net worths over 5 million that I can borrow from. That could
Definitely.
be private money lenders for me. The bank, if you're structured right, the bank will loan you whatever money you need. So I think that for those looking to grow in real estate, more specifically in fix and flips, what you need to do is go full cycle. What does that look like? If there's somebody in your area, right, in your region that's doing fix and flips, find out how you can walk with them through a deal. Let them lead. You can follow. As a follower, you have no risk. It's not your deal. You're not
Right.
going to
You
make
don't.
any money. You're not going to lose any money. You
Mhm.
don't have to be there.
You just
You're not
learn.
you're just learning and you have to go full cycle. But then that goes back to for those that want to be fixing flippers and growing it, learn how to be a follower. And then once you commit to what it's going to take for you to follow somebody, find somebody that you can go full. If you have to pay them to walk through their deal with them, it will expose you and give you the stomach for what is to come. Most people don't understand how many things can go wrong. There's like one thing that can go right. You can make your returns. But I can tell you 100 things that can go wrong. The city can get involved. You might have to do some architectural plans. You do some structural calculations.
Yep.
Your hard money lender might pull out on you at the last minute and you'll forego your deposit. So many things that can go wrong. So when you start to observe and you watch somebody go full cycle, you still won't have everything you need. But your expectation will go from here to here. You'll
Yep.
understand it's not just a simple money grab. There's inherent risk. And what that risk looks like remains to be seen until you really see somebody go through it.
Yeah. Part of being a fix and flipper is also contracting other individuals to come in and do some of the work, right? So you got to lead a group of people you got to coordinate that effort and do it in a short amount of time to
Mhm.
whether you're fixing a roof, counters, whatever HVAC system, whatever you're fixing in the house to remodel it and then sell it quickly. So
Yeah.
tell us about that coordination. What kind of efforts does it take to just get that deal
Um,
done?
Good. I'll go back to observing somebody go full cycle. One of the things I hear many of my mentees say is like, "Hey, my uncle does tile. Hey, my uncle does plumbing." And
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of uncles out there. 90% of the time, the uncle that they're talking about probably not gonna is not gonna work out. Right? So what am I saying? I'm saying that you are only good as those that you work with, whether they're doing stucco, roofing, or windows. And what you want to do, and when observing somebody go full cycle, you'll want to see how they communicate with those individuals. Because you're the one with the money, right? And you ask somebody to do a job for you. If they don't do it right, then you lost money. So many things can go wrong. So for me, what I've learned is that I one of my cheat sheets is if I go to Lowe's or Home Depot for something and I see somebody with a tape measure, I always ask, "Hey, what do you do?
what
What
do
do you
you? Yeah,
what do you do?" And that could be a very quick interview process. And what I'm saying is when you're going through these processes, most of the time, windows, paint, floors, and some baseboards and trim, pretty standard. But all craftsmanship's not the same. That also looks like you can navigate a fix and flip very quickly, but then you can sit on the market for 3 months. So what does it mean, right? Um, you want to start getting referrals for individuals. I would be cautious about family because family is a little harder to leverage. Because if I say, "Hey Taylor, I want you to do this roof on my house," and 5,000, I'm gonna give you $1,000 deposit to buy material. If Taylor doesn't finish, if you don't finish, I'm not giving you $4,000, and I would think you would want this 4,000. So now we have leverage. And
right.
oftentimes, like with family, you do it with your uncle. You're 25. This is your mom's brother, and you say, "Uncle, I'm gonna give you 1,000. I'm not gonna pay you. I raised you. How dare you? Or whatever it shall be, you have to make hard business decisions. And so, if you want to keep your uncle, I would say keep him out the way, right? And start to work with individuals. And when you see people do good work, you keep them close. You
For sure.
refer them to other good people and making sure that it rains in their direction. Go out, for those people that do good work for you, make sure you are not only kind with them, but you build strong bonds because they will show up for you. If you're going through a fix and flipper, you have multiple properties and maybe money's tight. Those are the same people that say, look, I'll knock the work out for you. Pay me in 2 weeks. Now you can leverage yourself. It's all this big lever in fix and flip. You're
Yeah.
always on a time crunch or you don't have this and you need this. So people are important, but the right people. So we'll go back to Maya Angelou. People will never remember what you do for them, but they'll always remember how you make them feel. And shout out to many of the people that I work with. I found myself stuck in a deal where not only have they done work for me until I was able to get to the next lump sum of cash. I have some guys, they won't even take the money. No, I'm coming out here to fix this for you. Let me pay. No, those are the relationships, and so these are that's very, very important when you're talking about creating these resources, having your private money lenders, having your architects. You want people that you've established relationship with, and the best way is to get a referral to call somebody that's worked with them in the
It
past.
is. Yeah. And I can definitely echo that. Majority of the deals that I've worked on and closed, it's come down to relationships at the finest.
Every time.
If you don't have the right relationships, it's going to be difficult for you to actually bridge the gap and connect. You'll see that you might need an attorney here, you need an accountant here, you need maybe a contractor here and there, and another investor that can come in and bring capital, their experience. You leverage a lot of a teamwork to be able to bring down, especially whenever you go into the commercial space in commercial real estate. These properties are millions of dollars, and to bring them to close on these deals takes a lot of people.
Takes a lot of
So
people.
yeah,
It takes a lot. Takes a lot of people. I think that what I've learned too is documenting my process. Documenting my process. I can't stress it enough. I think that when you like yourself, when you've grown in real estate, it somebody could assume that it's easy by the way you communicate what you're doing, right? Yeah, we got to get a lot of guys in there and get it done. All of real estate construction, fix and flip is very, very tough. And it never stops getting tough. What happens is, and that's why we talk about going full cycle and getting the stomach for it, is it's so tough all throughout the process that becomes the normal. So if somebody called me right now and said, "Man, somebody broke into the fix and flip on W Street," I would say, "All right, well, let me get over there."
yeah,
It wouldn't bother me as much as maybe for somebody that's never done it and maybe their house gets broken into, a window gets broken, they would probably like lose their mind for the day. I expect a property to get broken into. Hope it doesn't, and it doesn't always happen. But if it happens, I'm not going to drop everything to go look at that window that I can't control because there's so many other pieces that are probably on fire in the first place. We have
yes,
deadlines, we have payroll, right?
for sure. No, that makes sense for sure. Tell me about how your business ties into marketing and having yourself being on Instagram and
Yeah, good.
getting
I've been
new
on
followers.
Yeah, I've been on Instagram for a couple years now and just doing a lot of different things. I have a podcast. I do short form content. I do a lot of meetups. For me, I think that the path of an entrepreneur and a fix and flipper, a lot of these individuals have a lot of similarities, right? They're the ones that grab their bootstraps and they go out there, irregardless of the risk. They try to calculate and get better at it, but there's risk and they know that and they love that, right? And so these people tend to get along with each other pretty frequently, regardless of where you're from, right?
Yeah,
Grinders, uh, uh, businessmen and women, risk takers, right? Those that are really trying to push it. They have a lot of similarities, so they can go be in a room and start networking. And I know that I have certain circles, right? I have like a circle here, I have a circle here, a circle here.
yeah,
Well, I realized that as I grow in real estate, I've been able to master the fix and flip. My first fix and flip, I did the work, right? Worked along somebody, paid this guy contractor, and I showed up every day and I started learning these things. So there's nothing I can't do on a home. I built this home we're living in right now, right? So, but that takes all my time. I learned that, and so you want to graduate and say, hey, how can I scale this? So if you stay in one circle and you're the biggest fish in that circle, you're really, really, really going to stifle your ability to fill your cup and help other people and touch your greatest potential. So social media has exposed me to other circles in which I can bring value, right? And people that I can connect with that wouldn't immediately be people I run into at my gas station or Home Depot or fix and flip meetup in my city. So again, for me, social media has allowed me to have that exposure and also see, what are other people doing? You
Definitely,
know,
yeah.
you don't have to come up with a new idea. You can take a current idea and put your own spin on it, or you can exactly duplicate it. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. There are people doing some massive stuff like yourself. You're doing massive stuff, right? And there is a 0% chance that I would have ran into you at the gas station while I pump a full tank.
Thanks.
You don't live in the same city, and obviously great guy. I mean, I'm following your content. You're doing a lot of good things, but I think they say two mountains will never meet, but two men will.
That's right. That's right.
And I could not have the fortune of connecting with you today and previously if it wasn't for social media. I never would have met you
That's right.
unless you want to come get gas by my house. I doubt it, right? And
Right.
so for me, that's the beauty of social media, and that's why I've been working it, and I love it and having a great time.
I definitely have seen a lot of growth in my business just with the connections and the relationships I've been able to build through being on the social media platforms and just helping others as well. And it's allowed me to just open up a community where others can come to me with questions and I can help and influence others to get into real estate. And I think that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
We're in a position where you've been able to um, I wouldn't say master because there's always someone that's doing better and or more than you. But
Hmm.
you've been able to hone down a certain skill. And now for
Hmm.
you to help leverage that skill and help other people, that's what it's about. That's what it comes
Yeah,
down to.
agreed. I would say, man, shout out to Meta, shout out to TikTok. Even
Yeah,
when you say this, what it makes me think about is I'm from Northern California. Social media has connected me with a few people globally.
right.
Some I've been able to meet in person or formally, and some not. But like even I have a couple buddies that I met through social media in San Diego. Took a trip out there a couple years ago. You can't tell me these guys aren't my brothers.
Right.
You can tell me they're not my brothers. I love them to death. These are good, good guys that I work with.
Great.
Sometimes if I see it on online, if I see a flight cheap, like sometimes you can find like $60, right? It'll just come across. Trip to San Diego, $60. I'll call my buddy. Hey, listen, I'm gonna come out there this weekend. I've gone out to San Diego for 14 hours
Right.
just to go
Uh,
see my brothers that I met through social media. And it's a beautiful, I love them. I never would have had the chance to connect with these gentlemen, and they bring me so much value. Met their parents, right? So if we're in San Diego, you guys hungry? I'll take you to my friend's mom's house. She cooks good.
right.
But at the end of the day, so much of this is about the people and the connections because you can make a lot of money, right?
Mhm.
It's what you do with the money. And the memories and experiences that we have, because none of this is going to the graveyard with us, right?
Right.
Social media has allowed me to do that.
For sure. As a fix and flipper, you also work with a lot of wholesalers that maybe have influx of deals that are coming in. Someone like
Yeah.
myself, I work in multiple markets, many cities across the U.S., and constantly have deal flow that's coming in. And now we rely on wholesalers like you or other investors that want to buy some of our assets. So, how is that? Talk to me about that connection. How that synergy works between you and other wholesalers or other agents, real estate agents.
Yeah. Yeah. You're asking me at a season of my life or season of my business that perspective changes. It's a bit unclear right now. I used to connect heavily with wholesalers, but I think that the market, everybody's trying to eat. I think the market in California is getting very tight. And so I'm not
Right.
seeing a ton of deals, but that's not what you're asking me. You asked me the relationship with it. I have had some great relationship with wholesalers.
Yeah.
I think the more you grow in real estate, the more concepts you start learning. And wholesalers are great because you can get a deal brought right to you.
Right.
Yeah, I do some direct to seller campaigns, so I'm not necessarily a wholesaler myself. Any deals that like I get that I'm not looking at, I just give them to my community or I give them to somebody I know that's working really hard, right? The merit-based system. Um, but wholesales, there's a need for them. I just think that in this market, for me, I'm going direct to sellers.
Mhm.
I'm going direct to agents. I'm a real estate agent as well, and looking at a variety of other different strategies. So I guess I'll double down. And I know I'm not answering your question.
No, you're
Uh,
good.
yeah, let me say that it's so important to go full cycle and get a mentor because real estate is not that or that it's not one thing. It's always evolving. There was a time that real estate was a money grab. You can have a license and just throw something at a house and you'll make a lot of money.
Right.
80 grand on my first flip. And then you get into a market like this where it's a lot more difficult to make money and you see things getting a lot tighter. So you think about wholesaling or fixing, flipping, all these things take resources and a lot of capital. So if you're putting out $50,000 in marketing a month and it's bringing you back a two on one of your return on your money, that's great. What happens when you put out 50,000 and you don't bring in anything?
Right.
And what I see is that can make some people operate a little bit differently. And that's nor here nor there. I say that to say that for those looking to grow in real estate, go full cycle, get a mentor, but you have to understand there's this thing in life called time. Timing is so important. Time is so many different things. Time to be together, time to fly, time that a real estate market slows, it speeds. The timing is so important. If you were to jump into real estate now, for anybody that's listening, and you say, man, what Jacob and Taylor told me, those are good ideas. I want to implement that. I want to go make 80. I can't tell you right now that a lot of people in my market are making 80,
Yeah.
even some of the best, right? So having that full cycle experience will allow you to have a gut feeling that can only be earned through the process.
Definitely. No, I like that. I like the fact that you brought in time with that because time is probably one of the most important things we have here on earth, and it's
Yeah,
limited. And probably one
very
of the most
limited.
important resources that we all have, which is great.
Yeah.
So, if you can tell me about how you generate leads, right? The best way that you generate these seller leads, and you mentioned direct to seller leads that you really
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
What's your favorite way, favorite method
I
that you
think
use?
for me, I love you got to know your business. You have to know your business. You have to know what the revenue is doing. You have to look at your expenses, right? I love a free lead, right? And so, what does a free lead look like? When you navigate social media, when you have a great reputation, I would double down on that. There are some people I won't do a deal with, right? I just won't, and that comes from reputation,
Right.
right? You gotta know what you're getting yourself into. There's already enough risk in this business. So for generating leads for me is I put on a monthly meetup. I'm actually my podcast room right now. So I
Yeah.
have a podcast. It's all about bringing high level value for free. And so the best leads and the cheapest lead for me come from real estate agents bringing them to me. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe other investors that understand this thing that we're doing, right? And this
Yeah.
looks like my example is Taylor flies into California because he has a podcast or something going on. I
Right.
know he's flying in. I make sure when he lands, when he has to do his podcast, whatever he has to do to the time he gets to the airport, not only is it safe, I make sure that red carpet is rolled out. By the time he leaves, he didn't have to spend a ton of time with me. It has to be very, very, very easy. And there's
Right.
a lyric from Jeezy says, "When I'm up in your city, it's all on me. When you're in
It's
my
all on
city,
you.
yeah, all on it." So that's how
Yeah.
it goes. Some people don't agree with that business structure, and that's okay. But I
That's
would
what it's about.
promise anybody looking to grow in real estate, if you take that concept and you just give and you just give and you just give, people will go out their way to make sure you get it. And it usually happens when you need it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Everybody we all run a business, it's good time. But sometimes business starts changing because of time, right? Okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? So back to the lead. Most of my leads come from people bringing them to me, whether it be an agent, whether it be sometimes we call it bird dogs, right? They
Definitely.
find deals. They're not necessarily wholesalers, but they have like a structure like that. And then they come through social media. And I always make sure I rub somebody's palm. I tell people if they bring me a lead, I'll cut them a check. That could look like 2,500. That could like it just depends. 7,000. I've cut checks for, right? And they didn't want the money, but guess what? You're taking it. I appreciate you, and so I think that that for me is the best lead to get because the phone just rings. You say, "Hey, what's going on, Taylor? Hey,
Exactly.
what's the deal? And what you look at? Send it over."
Exactly. No, that's how it is, man. Direct leads is free leads is probably the best. You making me want to book a flight to Cali right now. Just come.
That red carpet is going to be rolled out. I bet you. There, that's and I think another thing I'll add is like we talked about different circles of people. As you're growing in real estate, don't be afraid to get into different circles, not just circles that benefit you. And when I say benefit you monetarily or what you think is important, get in circles where you can bring value and there is value. That might not be
Right.
money. The example of you flying into California. I promise you, if you flew into California right now, even if I can't get you from the airport, my circles that I continue to grow with, if I called Gene, where you at? You in Sacramento? Look, one of my buddies flying into Sacramento. I need you to pick him up at 11 because I know you're in Sacramento. No problem. If he has to move his schedule around because we're all operating,
That's how it
I
is.
I would not have called him and asked him for that because we don't
Right.
ask for this crazy stuff. But I think that maybe I brought him so much value that he feels convicted, maybe not doing it. He doesn't have to, but he would probably want to do it more than me. So by the time you guys get to my house, you guys would probably be better friends than me. Right?
That
You guys
is
are connecting. It's good people, right? And I think that if anybody can take that story or that concept and they duplicate it continuously, not expecting a return,
definitely.
you'll be very rich beyond means.
Oh, that's it, man. I love it. Where can people find you and stay connected with you and just maybe someone has a deal they want to send over to you?
Send it. Send me a deal. I want to do some business with you as well. Some
Of
continue.
course.
My name is Jacob Davenport. On Instagram, I'm Real Estate Jake 100. On Facebook, I'm Jacob Davenport. TikTok, Real Estate Jake 100. Again, just Jacob Davenport. So you can find me on social. I'm always doing something within real estate. If I can bring you value, I'll bring you value. If I can be the bridge to connect you, I don't even want anything. Let's just all eat. It's
Let's
always a
eat,
treat
man.
when everybody eats, right?
That's what it's about, man. That's what it is. And I appreciate your time. Appreciate your expertise, your
Thank you
knowledge,
for
man.
having me. No, thank you for having me. But let me also say this, um, the way you're navigating. Well, let me back up and give a quote. There's this quote that says, "The road to leadership is a very lonely path." And for those of you that are tuning into this, understand that. Um, s- Never mind me, because I could be bluffing everything I'm saying, but I can tell you my observation of Taylor as a leader. The things he has to do and the things that stay on his mind, not knowing if it's right. Never knows, right? But he keeps doing it. This
Mhm.
is the type of individual that you should follow. And if you're looking for a mentor, I would suggest don't call him and say, "Can you be my mentor?" Everything you need, he's posted it online. So please
Yeah.
just watch every. I was just watching some of your Instagram posts about some of the main reasons why deals fall through. Also about business credit and a few other. And you were on the money in everything you said. And so if you're looking for a mentor, all you gotta do is give Taylor a follow and watch all his posts. Don't even message him. Everything you need is right there.
No, I appreciate that shout out, man. I really appreciate it. You guys got to check out Jacob because I mean he's killing it in California. Are you only in California or other markets as well?
I'm just in California. As we
Yeah.
spoke before, I like to keep it small, keep it all. And
Yeah.
I'm sure there would be greater opportunities. They say it gets greater later. If there's an opportunity, I'm involved, but I also learn in business, work
Yeah.
on one thing at a time.
Yeah. Focus. That's it. I love it, man. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your the connection, and I hope people get to connect with you as well and just learn how awesome of a person you are.
Man, mutual, man. We make sure if you come into California and
Yeah.
you fly in and you don't tell me, and we get a red card, that's when we're gonna have a problem. All right.
It's same thing whenever you're in Dallas, even anywhere in Texas, just let me know. I got people here.
You,
We'll take care of you.
I'll take you up on it. You got my word.
For sure. All right.
All right, brother. You take care.
All right. Peace.